Hello, and welcome back to Unleash the Goats, where we unleash ourselves upon the Star Wars franchise with reckless abandon, and nobody quite knows what we'll say next, least of all us. I'm Nat, she, her. Sugar, say hi. I'm doing it out of order.
Hi, it's Sugar, she, her.
Angela, say hi.
Put my phone down to pay attention so I could say my name, and then it wasn't.
And then it wasn't your name.
Sorry, someone was texting me, and it seemed urgent. My apologies. My name is Angela /Faye. She, her. It's nice to meet you. Just in case you hadn't met me before.
Thanks for tuning in to the first time.
In case we have new viewers this week.
Yeah, episode 1.
You never know.
Yeah.
You never know. I actually haven't looked at our statistics in like maybe 3 months, so I have no idea what our viewership looks like. I hope you guys are still having fun.
When I was like, I can't do dinner right now, I have to record this podcast, my parents were like, do people listen? And I'm like, I have no idea.
I've seen them, we get views on YouTube, although not this month, because I don't think anything has gone up this month, but...
Sorry, YouTube.
Oh shit, I haven't put it up yet. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I completely forgot. Well, in fairness, I was out of time.
Alright, so it is, in fact, Faye's birthday weekend. So
yeah,
there
happy
is
birthday,
that.
Faye.
So happy birthday to Faye. And congratulations to Faye on getting officially engaged instead of engaged to be engaged. It's really exciting.
Thank you. I'm very excited. Anyways, so today we're talking about Wookies, everybody, because I got to pick the topic this month, and I was between this and something else that wasn't as cool. So we're talking about Wookies because I love them dearly, and Chewbacca is my favorite character. Who should have gotten a medal? George Lucas, I'm coming for you. And we're going to cover both Legends Wookiees and canon Wookiees, because Legends Wookiees are cooler because Legends likes them more. I don't know if you know this, but I don't know if any of you have watched any of the recent movies that Disney has put out, but you'll notice that the Wookiees don't actually get to do anything, like ever. Mm-hmm. They get to fight sometimes.
It is cool when they get to fight.
When they get to fight, it's awesome. Yeah. They don't get to, have character arcs or personalities or...
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the big thing that Chewie gets to do is react to Han dying. And then he doesn't get to hug his best friend after that.
And then he gets to not die, right? Where, they think he dies and then he doesn't die and that's the second most important thing he does.
Ironically, he does die in Legends. Spoilers. He does die in Legends. He's the character that gets to die. And weirdly, I prefer a Chewie that gets to have a personality and a life and a character who also dies to a character who, is there as a placeholder and then doesn't die. One is more satisfying.
Well, because deaths can be satisfying. Even tragic deaths can be satisfying if the narrative leads to them well, so.
And he has a good death. It's great. He dies saving people. What? Okay. Background on this, actually. Because the reason that Chewie dies is because the writers of Legends books were like, hey, George Lucas, what's up? We want to kill off somebody in this book. We want to make it, a big thing. We want to kill off somebody from the movies. And he was like, okay, you can't kill off these people, and he gave them a list specifically of people that they cannot kill off. Chewbacca was not on that list because, again, George Lucas, I'm coming for you. You don't like Chewie, and you're an asshole. And so they killed off Chewie. People were very upset about them killing off Chewie. Very upset. But it was a popular book because it was, relatively well written. So it stayed canon, unlike some things. And so Chewbacca continued to be dead. But, he does have, nephews and things. The Christmas special... The holiday special, I'm so sorry. The holiday special that we watched is not canon in Legends. So Chewie does not have a wife in Legends.
That's
weird. It is canon to canon.
It's canon to canon, but it's not canon to Legends, which I have always thought was very interesting. I understand why, right? Because holiday special is its own kind of fucked up. But, it is. They did make it. You know what I mean? It did exist. I understand why they chose to ignore it, but also it was there. Mm-hmm. They could have done something interesting to play with it. I think the what the fuck is his name?
Legends,
Lumpy. I think Lumpy's cool.
Legends keep Kashyyyk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they kept pieces of the holiday special because Kashyyyk came from the holiday special.
Yeah,
So they didn't
kept like bits and
ignore it
pieces of
entirely. They just ignored the family.
They ignore the family. They ignore the whole like suburban house inside of the treehouse thing. That's like, less
valid,
of a thing.
Honestly.
Yeah,
I disagree.
I mean,
The cooking show is very important to me.
I'm not against parts of it, right? Because I do think that like the juxtaposition of like this very like rural, we talked about this before, but like the very like rural like lifestyle, but like having all of the modern amenities inside is a good contrast. I disagree with the style of it particularly because I think that the way they did it was like very home and garden, which isn't really the vibe of the Wookiees, I feel. But like I feel like they would be more like Swiss Family Robinson, if that makes sense.
I've never seen it, but I will take your word for it.
Hang on, let me Google something real fast.
Okay. I forgot that you guys went to public school.
That's what you're gonna blame. Incredible.
Yes. All of my homeschool friends watched it because we were bored.
Oh, yeah, you never get bored at
I
public
think
school.
that's fair. Well, you don't typically have movies available.
Not that you
Yeah.
get to choose. There are TVs there.
Yeah.
You just don't get to pick the movies
That's
that get played on them.
Yeah, I've never seen this. I'm so
Did
sorry.
you read the book? Okay, that one I will blame on public school because that was required reading. Anyways,
So moving on.
moving back. Okay, so some history on Chewbacca because I know you guys are all very invested because I love him so dearly. Chewbacca is considered like in Legends specifically, he's considered to be like basically like the coolest of the Quattro we have. Leia like is maybe equal, but like when you have people like interacting with Han, Leia, Luke, whatever, Chewie's like always like one who like comes in to save the day. Like he's there to save everybody. Everybody trusts Chewie the most. If that makes sense. There's one of my favorite stories is when Leia has to like go into hiding. I don't remember why. She has to go into hiding and like pretend to be a bounty hunter. And her and Chewbacca like do like a team up. They spend like the whole book together. It's so fun. They're so cute. And this has stuck with me forever. They have to do they do this thing to like disguise Chewie because Chewie's very distinctive, right? Everybody knows what Chewie looks like. So they have this color changing like powder that like they put it on his hair and then it crawls around his hair and changes his like pattern. And then she does the same thing to her hair with like a similar powder. And she gets like cool white streaks in her hair. It's sick. It's so cool. I have wanted that powder ever since I read that book. It's so interesting. Okay, so in Legends, Chewie was the son of a war chief. He ended up being taken captive during the Empire, essentially, and was put into slavery. But when Chewie when he met Han Solo, while Han was supposed to be transporting like slaves basically, and Han was like, but what if I like didn't do that? What if I don't want to like transport slaves? And then drugs are one thing. However,
it's very Jack Sparrow-esque, right? Like people aren't cargo.
yeah, kind of thing. Like
that's
basically Han is like. Yeah, basically Han is supposed to be like, because Chewie has like helped people escape, right? Like he's in the process, he's like trying to help people escape like all of the time. And in one of his attempts, his ship is basically attacked by imps again because like they're in the process of escaping, they're getting attacked, whatever. So Han Solo at the time is part of the Imperial people. Like he's like has been part of the pilot program, whatever the hell their fleet's called. He's a TIE pilot, and so. They've captured them. They're like, okay, we're gonna put them together. We're gonna transport out of here. Like, let's go. And Han Solo's like, no, like I'm not gonna kill this guy and then take these children back to prison. That's crazy. And that's when he like basically like leaves his like dream of being like an Imperial pilot, whatever. Like he saves them, gets Wookiee Chewie out of there, and like everybody else, and they're good to go. But obviously, he's now a criminal, so. You know, Solo was like, all right, I guess we're going to be a criminal now. That's cool.
Which is an interesting thing, though, like on Han's end, right? Because then he ends up working for Jabba, who owns slaves.
Huh.
So it's like, okay, well, the line is a little blurrier there, right? Like, you are currently only smuggling drugs, but your employer is a slave owner. So you drew your line at smuggling the slaves or flying, taking slaves somewhere, but like you don't mind supporting a slave owner.
Technically, he's not. It's not like Jabba's his boss. He's like doing a contract for Jabba.
Yeah, but he seems to have kind of been doing contracts
He's
for
not-
Jabba for a while. There's clearly a long
Right.
history there between them.
It's true. It's true. I'm sure there's like a bunch of stuff about that where they,
But we're not
have
talking
to.
about Han. We're
Yeah.
just talking
Yeah,
about
we're not
Chewie.
talking about Han. We're talking about Chewie. There is like an interesting thing where like in the process of this whole like event happening, as it was whatever, is that the children that like Chewie was trying to save were part of like a rival clan, whatever. And this rescue essentially results in that clan calling off the rivalry with Chewie's clan. So that's like almost unheard of in like Wookiee culture. Like if you have a rivalry, you're a rivalry until one of the clans is dead. So
It's kind of
this is
intense.
like a rare instance of like, yeah. I mean, they're Wookiees. They're kind of intense people.
That's fair.
Yeah. They have a lot of emotions.
Relatable.
Anyways,
beautiful.
so that's like basically gets you to like where we meet Chewie, obviously, and like obviously like a bajillion things happen in the meantime because there's many books. I don't know if you know this. There's many books. Good luck ever getting through all of them. It could happen.
I'm sure there are people.
I'm sure people put effort into
Yeah. Drop it in the comments if you've gotten through all the books. Let us know.
every book and every comic in Legends canon.
Yeah, and the Build the Millennium Falcon magazine that we learned last time existed.
There's so many weird reference books too. Like, are we counting those? Are we counting the weird reference books and encyclopedias and
No.
role-playing guidebooks?
I don't think
That's
so.
too much.
Okay, it has to be an actual story.
I mean, okay, so when Chewie does die, okay, so in Legends, first of all, you probably already know this because we talked about it before, but like in Legends, Han and Leia have 3 children. They have twins, Jason and Jenna, and Anakin is their youngest son. And when Anakin's around, I don't remember, I think he's maybe like 10, there's like a whole thing where like Chewie, Han, and like Anakin are like doing some like little mission, and they're supposed to be like they're rescuing people from like a city that's like literally about to just be destroyed, and Anakin accidentally gets like blown off like towards the explosion that they're trying to escape from, and Chewie goes after him and like essentially throws him onto the ship that's leaving, but can't make it himself, so he like dies saving Anakin essentially. Weirdly, this causes some like weird resentment between Han and his son, which I thought was weird at the time, and I still think that's weird because I know Chewie's like your best friend. Like Chewie's very important, obviously, but I mean that is your kid. It's not his fault. He's 10.
Yeah. And
Chewie made his
also,
choice.
if Chewie had left him and
You would
come
resent
back,
Chewie.
you would resent Chewie. So I think Han is just like, this is a lose-lose situation. Did you want Leia to be left behind? Like, what did you want from this?
Yeah.
I can see that as like an irrational thing, right? That like he's
It's
grieving,
kind of like an
it's a
irrational grief
shock,
thing.
and he just
Yeah.
kind of like, it happens to accidentally, in some respects, get aimed at the kid, and like it's not
You're the
fair,
other
it's
person
not
there.
logical, but like grief often isn't, right? That I think
Yeah.
could be like a totally valid way to write the character as long as you conclude it well. I don't
Right.
know if it was, but I think you could do an interesting kind of arc there.
I mean, they kind of do. Like Han does, like, kind of, like, come back to himself and be like, okay, I was being an asshole. I'm so sorry. Like, I love you. And he kind of, like, processes through his grief. It is just, I thought it was an interesting reaction because, like, well, obviously I don't agree with Han. I do like that they did something interesting with that. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't make him, like, the perfect guy. They let him have, like, a real, like, human reaction, which
Yeah.
I do like that about the story, that they don't try and, like, have it be just like, I don't know what the word is, but like cookie cutter, I guess.
Yeah, like too perfect. Like he's
Yeah,
making
like
all the right
seamless.
decisions all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like so many people talk about today that like everyone's so worried about PC culture and everyone being woke that they are, and mentally healthy relationships or whatever, that like you get everyone reacting in ways that never allow them to be flawed and things like that.
Okay, I don't know how to tell you this, but people with fucked up relationships are more interesting to read about, like, That's why we read.
That's why we write about them and don't become them in real life.
Go
hopefully.
that far. More that like people with flaws that they are allowed to overcome are more interesting than people who never have flaws ever. I think you can write perfectly interesting stories about people who have healthy relationships as long as there is a story where they have a flaw they are learning to overcome. The relationship doesn't have to be fucked up to be interesting or for there to be a story that the character can go through.
That's true, for sure. I mean more, I guess when I say fucked up, I mean like relationships are never going to be perfect. No relationship is going to be perfect. It's always going to have problems. And if you're not letting a relationship like have normal problems that people are trying to like overcome and move through, then you're not writing something that's going to be relatable or interesting or like at all going to move your story along. Like if someone has like an absolutely perfect relationship, absolutely perfect communication, they're not really humans, you know? Like what makes like people relatable is that they have, you know, problems.
Yeah,
and
but
that's not saying that like communication is always, it's that they can't like ever like be perfect and like have good communication all the time, but like you can just show those coming along. You know what I mean? Like people get frustrated, they get annoyed with each other, like that happens,
right? Which doesn't make the relationship fucked up as such, right? Like it can still be a perfectly good healthy relationship. Like getting irritated with each other is a fairly normal thing as long as you are not turning it into something horrendous. Like I'd argue Han and Chewie have a pretty positive functional relationship. Like at no point are they ever like truly at odds with each other at any point in the films, right? Like
but like they do get annoyed, right? Like when they're like fixing the Falcon in the second movie and like Han is being like, Chewie, now you're like I'm falling down, like, you know, there's like a bunch of stuff happening all the time, like they're yelling at each other, but like they're good, you know, like they're fine.
Like
they're
it's not a
like,
fucked
upset.
up relationship. Like they've got a dynamic where they're allowed to, you know, interact.
I mean, Han is genuinely upset that Chewie is like causing him to fall, but
which
like,
I mean, there's an urgency to that situation. But, like,
I think the interesting thing has to, like, if your relationship is perfect, then all of the interest has to be is what's happening to you. Because at that point, you're not writing about the conflict in the relationship. You're writing about the conflict that the like people in the relationship are dealing with outside of it. And I feel like that's where Han and Chewie kind of fall into.
Yeah, the story's never about Han and Chewie's relationship, right? Whereas, like, Han and Leia in that same movie do have a lot of conflict in the relationship. The relationship has problems in it that they are working to overcome because the story's about that relationship growing. And it's the difference between, like, Han and Chewie, who are just kind of constant background noise, versus Han and Leia, whose relationship is central to that narrative and that is growing. Which, you know, you could call the relationship fucked up if you want. I'm sure Nat would, but... you know, I think there is, I think there is arguably supposed to be respect there. You're supposed to want them to be together and root for them to be together, even if there are problems in it.
I mean, that's why romance books, at the end of a romance book and you move on to the next boy in the series or whatever, the previous couple, they're good now because the story's not about them.
Yeah.
Like, now the story's about somebody else's problems. And, like, that's like a pretty normal formula in romance. So if you're trying to write a romance and they're both like perfect people who have no problems and like their relationship has no problems, it's a very boring book because the book is supposed to be about their relationship. And in that case, you should be writing the book about something else and their relationship be a side plot, which is how you get romanticy.
Yeah.
So,
well, or just a story where someone happens to be in a relationship. It doesn't have to be romantic.
Yeah.
Like, there's plenty of fantasy stories and contemporary stories where people are in a relationship. It just isn't.
But it's not a romance.
The primary focus of the story. Anyway.
I think to me, the most ironic thing about Chewie dying the way that he does, like saving Anakin, is that Anakin then goes on to die himself.
Oops.
So.
Chewie did his best. And that's not on him.
He did his best. It's not Chewie's fault that Anakin Solo then went on to die. I mean... in fairness, you know, maybe you could say, I mean, he died saving people. So you could say that he was inspired by Chewbacca saving him to then, you know, save someone else.
Potentially,
yeah. One could say that.
Because he does, like, die to save other people, which is a beautiful thing, for sure.
You could also say that Chewie... sacrificing his life to save Anakin ultimately then indirectly also saved anyone else that Anakin saved. So even though he died, Chewie's sacrifice had value because it meant Anakin was alive to save the others.
I like that.
It's true. You can also go another direction with that, because Anakin's death is kind of what pushes his brother Jason to become evil. And in that case, Chewie saving Anakin then being inspired by that to die, which causes Jason to be evil, and then Jason killing Mara Jade means that I have Chewie to blame for Mara's death. So, there's lots of directions.
Except, if Anakin had died early, would Jason then not have gone dark even earlier?
Oh, that's a good point. I mean, maybe not.
And then you would still blame Chewie because Chewie didn't save Anakin. So Chewie's just a lose-lose situation happening here.
I would never blame, to be clear, I would never blame Chewbacca for Mara Jade's death. They are besties. They are best friends. They love each other. They're both smugglers, so they have a lot in common.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it works out. Yeah. Poor Anakin, though. He's so young. He's like 16 when he dies. He's a baby. I love him.
Man, if only his namesake had died that young.
We would have avoided a lot of things. Oh my god.
Changed nothing. It would have changed nothing. Palpatine would have done the same thing. It would have just put the Empire forever.
But Mace would have killed him early.
Maybe. Only if Palpatine
we can't do this.
He's doing pretty well before Anakin shows up.
I love you
I know,
both.
but
we
like
can't
the
do
reason
this.
that Palpatine is
I'm sorry.
okay. I'm so
You know
sorry.
what, Faye? It's your birthday. We can do whatever you want.
You can do whatever you want. This was my fault though, so we can move on.
Yeah.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Okay, so that is Chewbacca specifically in his Fate and History and Legends.
I'll briefly tell for those of you, because I just read through my notes for the holiday special. So for those of you who don't remember or didn't watch the holiday special, which what are you doing? Get on that.
Watch it immediately. It's the holiday season. Get on that.
Yeah. We see his. Is it Chewie's? Is it his father or his father-in-law?
I think it's his father.
It's his father. Itchy, right? Is that his father?
Itchy.
Or is his son Itchy?
No, son is Lumpy.
Son is Lumpy.
His son is Lumpy.
Wife is Mala. What we know is that Mala worries about him a lot and also tries desperately to cook. And it's beautiful and I love her. Lumpy is like a nerd kid that wants to put together radios and is also very concerned for his father's well-being. His grandpa Itchy is kind of just there. I don't get a lot of personality from Itchy.
A little bit of a perv, maybe.
I'm getting, yeah,
just given the gift he was given.
The like one scene that we see of just him is this like very weirdly sensual, sexual, like woman singing to him in like a mind. He like trips on something. He's like plugged into a thing.
Yeah.
And he seems to have a good time. I would rather have not been a part of that. That's the one part of the holiday special I'm like, that seems like your private time.
The one lore we have for Itchy is I believe he was supposed to have been in the battle against the Separatists on Kashyyyk that we see in Revenge of the Sith.
Oh, sick.
Obviously, we don't actually get any scenes that explicitly depict Itchy, but I believe the lore is that he was supposed to be there. So the Legends context of him having been the son of a war chief was theoretically not going to be completely abandoned. It just never quite made it into a final cut sort of thing. And I think it's still kind of within some sort of guidebook canon somewhere that Itchy was at that battle. So at minimum, Chewie is the son of a warrior. Chewie also, notably, canonically, is at that battle as well and helps save Yoda. So father and son were fighting together potentially for a moment.
Shut up.
If I remember right, there's also a thing where he works with Qui-Gon, I think, to fight the Trade Federation at some point.
Chewie does?
No.
Or Itchy.
Oh, Itchy.
Itchy.
That's fun. It's a whole family affair.
I love that.
It's so cute.
Okay, I take it back. I have been disrespectful to Itchy, and I shouldn't kink shame him, and that's on me.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, you said you were happy for him to have his kinks. You just didn't actually want to be part of them, which I think is valid.
Thank you. I'm trying to be respectful. Anyway, so that's Chewie's family. I think that's all we see. I think we see them in the holiday special. And they're not, or he has a different family in Legends? Question mark?
Nephews and stuff, it sounds like.
He has a sister in Legends, and she has children. Itchy is still his father in Legends, to be clear. But Mala is not his wife.
Does he actually have a wife?
I don't remember. Let me look it up.
So I was going to say, like, does he just not have a wife, or is there a different wife? I don't remember.
How much
like,
did we erase her?
Interesting, though, that they kept Itchy and just dismissed Mala. It's like, really? Okay. I would have kept Mala. But
she might have died.
Devastating.
I don't want, like, the actual lore. I want appearances. Oh, Mala exists.
Yeah, Mala does exist, I'm seeing. Yeah, blah, 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 blah.
Mentioned only.
Why? Okay, so according to the Wikipedia, they are there. I can tell you that they are barely mentioned in the main books.
Well, that is a shame. Are there other Wookiees in the books that we hear about?
Yes, there's Lobaka. Oh, I love Lobaka. Did you guys want to talk about Lobaka?
Sure, we can move to Lobaka.
So, okay, if you, our dear listeners, if you would like to get invested in the books, I highly recommend the Young Jedi Knight series because it's lovely, it's well written, it's about interesting characters that are connected to the main characters, who show up quite a bit, and also it has Lobaka because Lobaka is so cool. Lobaka's turn goes to be a Jedi when he's like 19. He joins the group. So the Young Jedi Knights are basically Lobaka, Jason, Janna, Tenno Khan. I'm so sorry. Tenno Ka. And I think that's it. Yes, it's just those four. It's a quadruple. Okay. Lobaka he's the techno one. So like Jason's really good with the animals. Janna's like basically really good at fighting. Tenno Ka is also good at fighting, but she's more of like the prissy girl. And Jason's like the more like down to earth girl because this was written in like the 90s. Sorry. And Lobaka is like the nerd basically, but like he's a Wookiee, so he's like the strong nerd. He's cool as hell. Okay, when he makes his lightsaber, he finds a crashed TIE fighter and like digs through it until he finds a focusing crystal and uses that for his lightsaber. He like builds it out of the techno thing because they have to find their own crystals. It's cool. I love him so much.
Legends has a lot of options for lightsaber crystals that aren't kyber crystals. Higher canon seems to be insisting that kyber crystals are the only ones that can work, but Legends has alternative options.
Yeah, I think Jason grows his. I don't remember where Janna gets hers. And then Tenno Ka does a stupid thing where Tenno Ka is cool. Do you guys remember the long rant I went on about the Night Sisters in Legends?
Several of them, yes.
Yes. Okay. So the Night Sister that kidnapped Luke and wanted him to be her husband, she ends up marrying the guy who wanted to marry Leia initially, the one that Han kidnapped her away from.
Sure.
That guy?
This has some bells ringing.
He's a hot prince. Okay, he's a hot rich prince. She kidnaps him, and the Night Witch sister, she kidnaps him instead of Luke, and they end up falling in love and they get married, which is very dramatic for his mother because she's like a boy mom, so she's very upset that her son has married what she perceives as this like dirty witch. It's hilarious. It's very funny. They're a great couple. They have a daughter, Tenno Ka, and she is the same age as Jason. They do eventually get married, have a secret daughter. It's a whole thing, whatever. But Tenno Ka is here to train as a force sensitive child here, obviously, because her mother was very force sensitive. She's force sensitive, and she has a lot of like issues with the whole like complicated background thing. So like her relationship to her grandmother and like both of her very different like cultures that she's from, very complicated. But she half-asses her lightsaber and it blows up and she loses her hand.
Drama.
Sucks. And then around the same time, her grandmother, the boy mom, gave her like her tiara because she's the crown princess, whatever. So she smashes this tiara, takes the jewel out of that, and makes that into her lightsaber, which was cool as hell. So
that's cooler.
Yeah, I
love that. What's the like timeline? Where in the timeline is the Young Jedi Knights set that you're talking about?
Jason and Janna, I believe, are. Let me double check because I know it's in 24 ABY, but I'm trying to remember how old they all are at this time. I believe probably that Jason teens. And Janna they're teenagers, but I think I don't remember how old they are. I believe that Lobaka is the oldest. but like Chewie's Wookiees live a little bit longer, so his 19 is about the same as Jason and Janna's like 15. And Tenel Ka is about the same age as Jason and Janna, so I think she's also like
Legends
15,
canon
16.
does not have Wookiees live as long as High canon does. Because I think High canon has Wookiees living like multiple hundreds of years.
They still live that long. But they don't make them take like Grogu levels of time to get to maturity.
Okay.
So their maturity length is just a little bit
they
longer.
just hit adulthood
but then once
and
they
then
reach
just
maturity,
sit there for 300 years.
yeah, basically. Which I think is fine, honestly. I think the fact that Grogu takes like 50 years to be a toddler sucks. That sucks. That is not an evolutionary advantage at all. That's horrible. I don't know how his species evolved to be that, but that's bad.
Did you see that post that was like positing that Yodas and Wookiees are actually like descended from the same species and grew up on the same planet?
I have seen that. I think it's ridiculous, but it's funny.
It's funny, yeah. Like, it has no real basis and logic, but it is very cute. It's very funny.
Like, the Star Wars universe is so fucking big. There's like a bajillion planets. There's so many. Okay, that's not true. There's one planet. It's called Tatooine.
That's not true. We have Kashyyyk.
That's true. We do have Kashyyyk. Anyways, Lobaka is very cool. He does have issues with like his anger and stuff, but like in a very like thematic way. He's not like his main thing. He's mostly like the calmest of the group, honestly. But like that's basically his thing. He's just kind of cool and sick for the most part. I do remember that him and after like Chewie dies, he's like, you know what? My uncle's life debt, my life debt now, Han. And Han's like, cool. All right. But you know, they're fine. I actually don't think he lets them travel with them. He wants to travel with Han, and Han is like, no. You're like 20. Go do your job.
Which is hilarious given that Disney canon Han is like, sure, yeah, I'll take these two random 19-year-olds who's like, I've happened to find on my ship. I'll just bring them into battles. It's chill.
Han in Legends is actually quite responsible. Like, he actually gets to develop and grow into like a mature adult who like takes care of his responsibilities. Unlike some people. Disney. That was weird. Who said that?
Who said that? We didn't hear anything. It's fine.
Anyways, that's Lobaka. I love him so much. He is my baby boy. I would die for him. I named my stuffed pillow after him.
As one should.
He's my favorite. He's my favorite of the four, honestly. I mean, I love Janna and Tenel Ka, obviously, but
Jason can go fuck himself, I guess.
Well, it's not. There's not. Okay. The thing about Jason is that you know how you love Ezra.
Yeah.
Ezra, low-key, love him. He is a ripoff of Jason. The whole, like, big into animals, rapscallion child, very much Jason. Like, Dave Filoni read this book and was like, I like this character. Nothing wrong with that. Lovely character. So Jason's delightful, for the most part. And then he grows up and turns into an asshole.
Which is where Ezra and Jason diverge.
Which is where they diverge. Yes. Ezra doesn't get a little brother to traumatize him by dying and then, like, make wrong decisions.
To be fair, he does get a father figure to traumatize him by dying, so it's not like he lost any of that.
Then he gets to be, like, banished to the far ends of the galaxy to, like, have free therapy in the woods, I guess.
Yeah, he also he lost actually, like, both of his parents, too, like, 3 separate times, depending on how you look at it.
That's true. Poor Ezra. Yeah, he handled that a lot better than Jason did.
That's a low bar.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you think about it, okay, I'm not going to get into Jason.
Let's not get into Jason. We're sticking with Wookiees.
Jason's not a Wookiee, right? No. I don't care about Jason today. Tell me about another Wookiee.
All right. Do we want to move on to canon Wookiee Jedis?
Let's do it.
All right. So there are actually multiple Wookiee Jedi within Star Wars, various EUs and stuff like that. But the only one that I think currently technically still exists within high canon is Gunji, who is an adorable little Wookiee Padawan that is
Are we not counting the one in Acolyte?
I was waiting to bring up the one in Acolyte that Sugar did not put on this list.
This is likely, well, so for context, for anyone who didn't know, I boycotted the Acolyte. So it's not in my memory.
As you should. Well, so did you forget about him, or did you leave him off on purpose? Because I thought you left him off on purpose, and I wasn't going to.
No, I mean, I was looking stuff up, and so he must have not. These lists must have been
funny.
old that I was looking at, and so
He shows up and then dies. Yes, his name is Kelnaka.
We don't even get to see him fight. We don't get to see him fight. Fucking pissed about that.
He dies off screen.
We get to see him mind controlled and fight.
So the only Wookiee Jedi of any worth in high canon is Gunji.
Oh, ow!
Yeah.
Ow! He's still cool.
That's not his fault.
He exists
that
in
he's an
Acolyte.
Acolyte. He is also. I looked him up if anyone's a big fan. Hopefully not of the Acolyte, because you're listening to the wrong show, if that's the case.
Show.
But he is in a YA novel that's called The High Republic Into the Light, that was published after the Acolyte.
There is
His
another
name is
actually
Kelnaka.
I will say I
Yes.
did forget a Wookiee Jedi that exists in High Republic that isn't this little bitch, but like and he would theoretically be counted. And his name is Buryaga, and he is also a Padawan, I believe, at the time that you meet him. In the books. And I believe he does become a knight later on, but I stopped reading those books after like the first 3 adult novels. Burry is actually pretty cool. I liked Burry. But Gunji is the one I'm going to talk about just because Gunji is introduced in the Clone Wars. He's little. He's one of the only, I think, other than Lumpy, I think he's one of the only Wookiee children we really get to see. So he is learning to be a Jedi. You get to see him go and pick his crystal on Ilum, or earn his crystal on Ilum. He is the only Wookiee Jedi that I am aware of, unless this little bitch Kelnaka did something. He's the only Wookiee Jedi that I know of that has a wooden lightsaber.
His lightsaber is not wooden, it's metal.
Great. Okay, so Gunji still gets to be the only Jedi, I think, at all, with a wooden lightsaber. I believe it is a wood from Kashyyyk that has special qualities that allows it to be utilized as a lightsaber hilt. He does survive Order 66. You do see him in the Bad Batch, where the Batch help him. He's trying to... I think he's gotten taken, by the Empire. He's been captured, but they help rescue him, and then they help him get back to his village on Kashyyyk. And they help protect the village from the Empire when it starts to get attacked. So last we saw of him, Gunji is surviving and thriving on Kashyyyk with his people. He's adorable. He's very sweet. God, I can't remember what the lesson is that he had to learn. I think it's something about overcoming fear and things like that. But he's very, very sweet. I don't know that he remains a Jedi or continues any sort of training later. We don't know if he survives all the way to the end of the Empire. Theoretically, he probably just ends up kind of integrating back into Wookiee society. But yeah, so the only Wookiee Jedi in like high canon, and certainly the only Jedi in Lucas canon, because the 2 High Republic ones would be Disney canon only. So Gunji is the only Lucas canon Wookiee Jedi, which is actually quite fun. Still something unique.
That is fun.
I love him.
Yeah. So the other one that I know of is Tyvaka. The only other one that I really cared about all that much was Tyvaka, who's actually Plo Koon's Jedi Master, who seems to have been a relatively calm, wise, kind of
I would pay
basic Jedi Master type.
So much money to get a TV show about the 2 of them. That sounds cool as hell.
I know. It seems like such an interesting
Why did they give me the Acolyte instead? I'm not going to cry about it, though. I'm going to be reasonable. Anyway, go ahead.
Honestly, against the Acolyte. I will also say that, like, the naming of Kelnaka is so fucking lazy. Like, Lobaka is Lobaka because he's related to Chewie. Like, the name similarities is there for a reason. Kelnaka is because you wanted him to sound like Chewbacca, but he's not related to Chewbacca in any kind of way. But you want people to have that like familiarity connection, so you didn't have to do any work to this character.
You wanted to be like, hey, this is a Wookiee. Do you remember Wookiees? This other guy with this name is also a Wookiee. It's like, no, I remember Wookiees.
Yeah,
they're kind of hard to miss.
You didn't need to give him the name. You could have given him any name, and I would have looked at him and be like, "Yep, that's a Wookiee."
The two other really canon, the two canon Wookiees within Lucas canon are Tarful and Gunji, neither of whom have names that sound anything like Chewbacca. So there's clearly a variety of names. Well, and Mala and Itchy and Lumpy.
Yeah, I was gonna say he also named Mala and Itchy, but that their names are not Mala and Itchy. Technically, their names is what is it? Atichituk and Malatobak.
And Lumpy.
And Lumpy. But Lumpy's name isn't Lumpy.
I know, but you only listened to
something else. I know, but I didn't have his
Lumpawaru.
Lumpawaru. Yes, thank you. Lumpawaru.
I don't think that's how you say it, but I love it and it's fun.
Close enough.
So I will say it.
I will say that I
Yeah.
think we looked this up and their names were not given these elongated versions until after the holiday special came out. So they were officially Itchy, Mala, and Lumpy as per the holiday special, and then someone else was like, this is ridiculous, and gave them better elongated names.
Okay, his Wikipedia entry is Lumpawaru, also known as Waru, blah 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 blah, born Lumpawarump, which I love. I'm going to name my child Lumpawarump, and my mom will be so upset with me.
I think Lumpawarump would be like the perfect dog or cat name, honestly. A guinea pig name.
Yeah.
Wonderful guinea pig name, honestly. Lumpawarump, the guinea pig.
Yes.
Well, turning Itchy into Atichuk is so good. That's great.
Yeah, I think they did pretty well at taking Itchy, Mala, and Lumpy
job.
and giving them elongated names, but they technically did not have them until after the holiday special was released.
But my point is that these are the early these are names that have been around since before Empire Strikes Back, basically. This is OG era. So when the person who will not be named, who made Acolyte, was naming her characters, and we know that she read Legends because she put the
talks
cortisol
a lot
shit.
about it.
And she talks a lot about it. And she was like, nah, we're not going to go with any of that shit. We're going to go with our readers are stupid and none of our viewers know anything. Because, yeah, for sure, people who don't know Star Wars are watching The Acolyte. Yeah. Sure they are.
Sure they are.
I bet.
Those are the only people that can enjoy it.
I think that's valid, honestly. Although I definitely saw people who are like, it's not that well written anyway. We're leaving aside all the dumb other shit. It's not even very well written.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Anyway.
All right. So I think, I mentioned Tarful. Tarful shows up a couple of times because I think he might be in Jedi Fallen Order as well. But he is a chief, a war chief, presumably, that helps save Yoda during that Order 66, because he's on Kashyyyk at the same time that Yoda is. I believe he might have showed up in Jedi Fallen Order during the mission where Cal goes to help save some Wookiees with Saw Gerrera. So he's just kind of wandering around being cool every so often. But then the last one that I think we all wanted to talk about is another Wookiee with another very different and fun name, whose name is Chrysanthemum.
I love him.
I know. I was going to let you start.
Ah, thank you.
I know how much you love him.
I love him. He is so cool. First of all, he has the sickest armor. He gets these cool, double-bladed, not double-bladed, but crossed bandoliers over his chest with sick arm pads, and he just looks awesome. And the first time we meet him in the Book of Boba Fett, it's the only redeeming quality of Book of Boba Fett, aside from getting to see
I'm gonna murder you if this is an actor name you've forgotten.
Boba Fett. Aside from getting to see Boba Fett, do have all of his cool meditations and be naked, and also of course the beautiful Fennec, who's just gorgeous the whole time. Okay, aside from those two, the high point is for sure getting to see Chrysanthemum in live action, because he's sick. We meet him and he rips somebody's arm off. That was awesome. They've been setting up that moment since fucking movie 1. That was so cool. I love him. He's great. He is a bounty hunter who doesn't give a fuck about anybody. He, in fairness, he is considered like a disgraced Wookiee because he doesn't care about anybody or anything.
He's not the
like,
most
he'll kill
honorable
anybody.
person you've ever met.
Not very honorable. No, super not honorable at all. Like, let me see. What was it, the thing that he did that like got him kicked out? Okay, so he attacks a bunch of slavers, sets a trap for one of them by using a Wookiee as bait.
So there's that.
To kill slavers, in fairness. So his goal was good. Does like let somebody else die to, you know, do that. Anyways, his whole goal, he does like do this, he kills all them, and then he goes off the off-world to like go to like pit fighting and stuff and like make a name for himself as a gladiator. There is a cool thing that where he basically gets Wolverined, like he gets his like bones coated in metal, which is sick as fuck, and he gets knuckles implanted with metal, like literally gives himself like knuckle busters.
Gives himself like
metal.
literal brass knuckles.
Literally gives himself brass knuckles. It's awesome. It's really cool.
Does he need that?
It's cool.
Yes, it's very cool.
I think
but,
Chrysanthemum
like,
lives
aren't
almost
Wookiees,
exclusively
like,
in rule of cool.
already.
Yeah, but,
Okay.
But
well,
why
he's
not
gonna
be
in,
stronger?
Like, the pit,
Heard.
and he's gonna be fighting like other things that are also strong. So why not?
You know what? I'm convinced.
Also, at one point, he because they have to fight those lizard people, like a bunch the people the gladiator people.
Trandoshan.
Yeah, the Trandoshans, like they love to pit the Trandoshans in against the Wookiees because they're like mortal enemies and like, you know, actual like social politics. And one time he's like, "Oh, I don't need swords to beat you," and so he drops his swords and then just beats this guy's head in with his like fists because he can, and he hates him because he's a Trandoshan and they're natural enemies, like Scots and Scots. That's the wrong quote for that. But anyways, I love him so much. He has the coolest armor. He gets to do cool stuff. He ends up working Boba Fett for a while, which was also very cool. It would be nice if he had gotten to do that in a good show, but you know, I will take what I can get. And what I got was one season of a shit show with really cool effects. So that's what I get. He does work for Vader at some point, if I remember right. He's like one of the bounty hunters that like Vader hires to like do stuff. I don't think it's like a major like part of his like life. He's just, you know, he's a bounty hunter, so he works for Vader at some point.
That's so funny. When you're like looking at someone's resume and they're like, and also this time I worked for Vader, but don't worry about it. It was a really short period of time. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, I just did like a couple things.
Can you explain this gap
fine.
on your resume? No.
Not unless you would have all got to be really cool about a bunch of stuff really quickly.
To be fair, if he's talking to Boba, it's like Boba also worked for Vader, so this is a non-issue.
Yeah, Boba's like, so we were there together. What are you
Didn't
talking
everybody?
about? We got hired at the same time.
Why did you take this off of your resume?
Do you not want to be associated with me? Is that what's happening? Anyways, Chrysanthemum is super cool. He gets to do like cool stuff in Boba, and like maybe he gets to like redeem himself for like, it does kind of seem like in Boba Fett in Book of Boba Fett, sorry, that they were trying to like make it seem like he kind of like regretted being an asshole, maybe, and was like trying to like fix himself a little bit, redeem himself, I guess. So he gets like a tiny little character arc.
He isn't when he comes in, because he comes in, I believe, hired by the Twin Hutts. Mm-hmm. As like a bodyguard, and then the Twin Hutts leave and just like abandon Chrysanthemum on Tatooine.
He's kind of like going through a midlife crisis, yeah.
Yeah, and so Boba comes in and hires him, and so Chrysanthemum just goes like, "Oh, cool, I've got a purpose again," and just kind of takes up being a bodyguard for Boba, you know, in essence. So he's not like getting better. It's just that he works for a person who's a little bit less of an asshole than a Hutt.
Yeah, but there's a couple points. I don't remember where it is, but it's like a point or two in like towards the end of Book of Boba Fett where like he could have like ditched and like left Boba to like his own devices. So it's like it's kind of like looking like a pretty shitty situation that they're not going to make it out of, and he doesn't. He like stays and like finishes his contract and like does the honorable thing to like.
He does seem to like build a friendship with Boba. Like there is a mutual respect happening there between him and Boba, and they seem to be friendly at least by the end. You know, that he's sticking around because he likes working with and for Boba. Which is arguably, I think, part of Boba's arc, was intended to be part of Boba's arc, is that Boba becomes a leader that people want to follow.
And that he can, like, inspire this in other people.
Yeah. I think he ends up liking the Vespa crowd as well. He kind of has, like, an older brother relationship towards the Vespa crowd.
He's the only one who does.
Mods?
I'm just kidding.
Was that what they were called? The mods?
Whatever the fuck they were called. In universe, they seem to be well liked by other people. I hate them. Why the fuck are their bikes so clean? Why are they so clean?
They weren't actually liked by other people, were they? Wasn't that the whole thing? Was that they were considered, like, weird outcasts?
No,
or
I mean,
something?
like Boba likes them. Fennec, like, comes to enjoy them. Like,
yeah, but, like, they also end up... They get up hired, I think, because no one else likes them.
no, I mean, like, in the context of the show, they are portrayed as, like, supposed to be like a bull. Like...
Oh, yeah, by the viewers, yes.
Yes, and they suck.
They kind of do suck. They do, in fact,
They're
suck.
annoying. Why are their clothes so clean? Why do they have a blowout? It's Tatooine. You should all look like shit.
Yeah, this is true.
Except for
Or at
Boba
least-
Fett. He can look beautiful if he wants.
Boba's got armor, at least. So that's helping him out.
And he has, like, a fresh paint job on his armor.
He
So
very
has a
clearly
reason
has
to
recently
look nice.
repainted.
Oh my
that
god,
armor.
why are these Vespas so
we
clean?
see him, like, go into the ship with his, like, fucked up armor, and then he comes out with it freshly painted. Like, he's got a good excuse to, like, freshly paint it.
Yeah.
They do not have this. Theirs is supposed to be their cobbled together bikes that they've, like, created themselves. And they has, like, a perfect paint job.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Especially because you could... Okay, I can't get into this.
We can't get into that. They're also not Wookiees.
They're also not Wookiees. Importantly, they are not Wookiees.
So yeah, so I think what we are coming to is that there should be more Wookiees in Star Wars stories. The one in The Acolyte really just doesn't count because he just seems like a loser. But like...
We don't get to see any of him. They just kill him.
It's not that
Yeah,
he's
exactly.
a loser.
So he
It's
dies
that
immediately. He's a loser.
It's that he's incredibly underutilized by the story. The one time you get to see him fight, he is being mind controlled, so it's not even really him fighting. In fairness, it is pretty cool when he fights, but it's not like he's trying to kill them. They're not trying to kill him. He's their friend. Blah blah blah. Whatever. And then when he's actually fighting for his life, we don't get to see it at all. Like, that sucks. We get to see... There's, like, a 5-minute scene of him, like, of the asshole guy... Beautiful asshole guy. I'm so sorry I meant his Indo. Fighting all these other people, like, stabbing that poor girl, and we don't get to see him fight the Wookiee? Is it because you don't want to show the Wookiee, like, beat his ass, and him having to cheat to win? Because that's what happened. Almost guaranteed. It's a Wookiee.
A Wookiee Jedi,
They just didn't want to choreograph it.
Yeah.
Yeah! Whatever.
Cowards.
Anyways, cowards. Did you know that there are some, like, legends that say that Wookiees did not originate on Kashyyyk, but nobody knows where they could have originated anywhere else. So, like, the Wookiees believe that they didn't originate on Kashyyyk, but nobody can figure out where else they would have come from.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Now I know that.
I mean, this would have happened like 2 million years prior to, like, the Battle of Yavin. So, kind of a long time ago.
So it's not like someone.
There's
would
a lot of things
remember.
that happened several billion years prior to our history, and we do know some of them.
That's true.
No
mean,
one's
what I
doing.
liked-
No one's looking at the fossil record on Kashyyyk.
I mean, they don't. They had mostly swamp. I guess. I don't know if
Could
it's a
you-
bog.
Are there fossils in bogs?
Yeah, bogs preserve things really well, like bog mummies.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
if it's a bog, then I guess it would
possible.
work. I don't know if swamps and bogs are the same thing. I don't know that. What I think I like the most about Wookiees, what I think I find the most appealing about them, is that, like, they they haven't sacrificed their culture for technology. I feel like a lot of times when people like have, I guess, tribal cultures like the Wookiees, and then they like in like sci-fi, they also introduce them to technology, and that technology like wipes out their culture, and they just become assimilated into like the more like mainstream culture of everybody else in the galaxy. And the Wookiees, that's not what happens. The Wookiees assimilate the technology into their culture instead of the other way around. And I really, really enjoyed that like aspect of them, and then that's like just part of who they are when we get introduced to them, is that like, yeah, he doesn't wear clothes, but he'll still shoot you with a laser gun. It's like, I think that's sick. They're like, no, we're still going to climb trees. Yes, we do have hovercrafts now, but we're still going to climb the trees. Climbing trees is fun.
Who wouldn't?
Hell yeah.
Exactly.
If you had to pick one Wookiee from canon or Legends to be, like, best friends with, like, standing brunch date, who would you choose?
That's a really hard question.
I'll say Tyvaka. I'll go Tyvaka, just because I like hanging with the Jedi.
Yeah.
He seems like he'd take care of me.
Pretty good.
That's fair.
I probably would have to go with Lobaka, because I feel like we could have a conversation. Like, I feel like me and Chewie, like, we wouldn't have a lot to talk about. You know what I mean? Like, he's really cool, but, like, we don't have a lot in common.
Okay, follow-up question. If you could hug one of them, who would it be?
Chewie. Definitely
Okay. Chewie doesn't get enough hugs,
Chewie.
I think.
He doesn't get enough hugs. He needs to be hugged more. And also, I feel like he gives
And he
really
needs a
good
medal.
hugs. Like, when we see Chewie gives people hugs, and they look like great hugs. They look fantastic hugs. Peter Mayhew is fantastic at giving hugs.
I'll say Gunji, just because the poor kid had to survive a genocide.
That's so fair. It's
I
not
think he
about me
needs some
being hugged.
hugs.
It's me hugging him. Yeah.
I think he needs someone to hug him.
Wait, Natalie, who are you picking?
For both questions.
For both.
Oh. Oh, God. I would like... I'll... If I can take the Acolyte guy out of the Acolyte, I would like to save him from that. Because he could be cool separately of that if he wasn't in that show. So if having brunch with me means that he's not in the Acolyte, then I would do that. And also, I looked up Gunji and he looks so cute, and I immediately wanted to hug him. Even before I knew about the genocide surviving. So,
Yeah, well, he was in Clone Wars. Like, he existed prior to Order 66, so yeah.
right. Yeah.
We also have to assume Tyvaka, I don't know if it's canon that he dies at some point prior to the prequels, but I think he's like alive. Like there's a comic where he's alive like during the Phantom Menace or something. But like
Ooh.
there's characters like Tyvaka and Buryaga where like they arguably also should have been alive during the Clone War era, which means they likely got killed off during Order 66.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're such long-lived people that it's entirely possible that they lived long enough to either die during the war or die during the genocide. And they all deserve to live.
They all deserve to live.
And we deserve more of them.
The main thing that I find to be annoying about like how Wookiees are treated in canon is that they are often enslaved, which annoys me. Like there's multiple times in the history, not just during the Empire, but there's multiple times in like the history of the Wookiees where like they write them as like being enslaved to one culture or another, as like, so like Wookiee slaves is kind of like a thing, and I don't like that. Like it's like because they are uniformly like big and tall and strong, they are enslaved, and that has some like racial connotations to it that I don't like. Those are bad. And also, I think they're a really cool culture, and I don't think that they should have to deal with that. So, you know, there's that. There's that. I think people should do better about writing interesting cultures.
Yeah, I think it would be interesting to get more Wookiee world building, right? Like, we often see Wookiee characters outside of the context of their own culture. One of the few places where we see more of that is the holiday special.
Yeah.
But most of the time that we are introduced to Wookiee characters, you know, like Chrysanthemum is out doing bounty hunter stuff. Gunji and Tyvaka and Buryaga and the Acolyte Loser are all in Jedi contexts. They're not on Kashyyyk doing Wookiee things for the most part. Until, I mean, Gunji goes back. But he has presumably spent the predominant part of his life up until that point doing Jedi things and is only just kind of getting reintroduced to Kashyyyk and to Wookiee culture. He seems to have retained some aspects of it, you know, hence the wooden lightsaber, built from wood from Kashyyyk, and so he has clearly a connection to that culture and to his identity as a Wookiee. But I think that there could be more nuanced exploration of Wookiee culture. You know, I don't know. I just think it could be interesting. I understand why it might be hard, given that they don't speak English. And so you have to work around that in live action contexts, but it's not possible to do more of it.
I mean, or you could just write them talking only to each other and be like, and we're going to film it in English.
But and so the Wookiees are just actually speaking English for the first time ever in Star Wars history because there's not.
Yeah, but like they're the way that you're like, and because this is taking place. Yeah.
I feel like that would be extremely jarring to be watching a Wookiee and hearing a normal English voice come out.
I think that what they should do is they should have a dub and a sub. And so you can watch it with subtitles with the Wookiee voices. Or you can watch it subbed when they're clearly speaking Wookiee still, but it's clearly just a...
But it's dubbed over really poorly.
It's dubbed over. Yeah. I guess the
At
only
least
way you
wouldn't
do it.
have the issue of like matching mouth movements, right? But like,
yeah,
because it would just be doing a lot of that. But yeah, I dare you,
option.
Disney.
We solved it.
I think this would be really easy to make a book out of, right? Because you can write them speaking English, right, without it being quite as jarring as having to see it and hear it.
I think if you made it as like a mockumentary, it'd be really fun. That'd be really cool.
I'm into it.
We should do it.
We should, the three of us.
We're
God.
gonna do it. We're all gonna get Wookiee costumes, and we're gonna dress up, and we're gonna do this. It's gonna be great.
The shortest Wookiees ever.
Perfect.
I'm not that short.
Not Angela.
Not compared to Peter Mayhew.
That's true. We'll be Wookiee children.
You know what? You got me there.
All right, Faye, give us a goat fact.
Did you want a goat fact? Okay. Goats come in a rainbow of colors and even a few patterns. They can be white, black, brown, gold, and red with many variations of colors. A brown goat can be anything from light fawn to a dark chocolate. They can be solid, striped, spotted, and they can have stripes on their faces. Some are belted with white band around the middles, or they can be roan, where they have white hairs like sprinkled around them. Or pinto, when it has spots of white, black, or another color, which I thought was really fun because Wookiees have lots of different colors. In their
They
pelts.
come in so many.
Can Wookiees
fur
be
patterns.
spotted?
Yes.
I assume so.
Awesome.
I don't think we see a ton of it, but I assume so.
Well, fun fact, when they initially conceptualized Ewoks, they were supposed to be like an offshoot of Wookiees, basically. They were supposed to be like cousins to Wookiees, essentially. That's why their planets are so similar and their cultures are so similar. Obviously, Ewoks are like a more primitive version. But that's why their name, that's why Ewok and Wookiees, they're supposed to be similar.
Oh.
And Ewoks have spotted pelts. Some of them do. So those are the ones that we see in canon. And since they were initially intended to have a similar origin, I consider that close enough. And probably the closest I'm ever going to get because no one cares about the Wookiees. That's Disney. They don't love me. And it's my birthday.
How dare they
They
on your
should love-
birthday month?
On my birthday month. I don't get a Rogue Squadron movie. I don't get Wookiees. I get nothing.
Our intro and outro music is Mos Eisley Cantina by Speedkicks. Angela and I edit, our artwork is by me, and Sugar is our writer and researcher. You can find us on Instagram and Tumblr at Unleash the Goats. Thanks for listening.
All right, I think I'm gonna call it there.
My brain just like automatically inputted as you're saying that. It was like, and that's where the ending music fades in.